Welcome to Tax Accounting, Accounting 214 online. I'm your instructor, Professor Lori Dunn. You could read about my bio out on the discussion board where I introduce myself. This presentation will be an overview of the orientation for the course, the syllabus, the course outline, Connect and the registration process, a discussion board posting you'll have to make to introduce yourself to the class, and an email to me, the instructor. So presented in front of you is the syllabus. But before I talk about the syllabus, I just want to give you a real brief overview. What we will be focusing on this semester is the preparation of individual federal tax returns. That's it. Individual federal tax returns, income tax returns, using the most current law. As you may have heard, there was a major tax law change in December of 2017. This majorly impacted the tax year 2018. And you will be learning the tax law applicable to the 2018 tax year. You may notice your tax forms may have a year of 2017 on them, no year, or you'll even see it manually written in as 2018. Always remember you're following the 2018 tax law, what you're learning. You're going to, of course, be completing reading, quizzing, graded assignments, practice assignments, and tax returns, and a group tax project, as well as tests throughout the semester. We're going to go over those in more detail in a few minutes. So what is the syllabus? Well, this is just the standard document that explains what you're going to be learning in class. It is in the orientation folder. Please make sure you access it and read through it. Please know your prerequisites for this course are Accounting 111 and 112. If you did not complete those courses, you should not be in this class. The course outline. That is also in the orientation folder, but I just want to go through parts of it so you have make sure you understand exactly what I'm looking for. My contact information is in front of you. My office is in Building 7 of the Nanticoke campus, room 701J. My phone number is there, email, and my office hours. And I apologize, I am not there on Fridays, only Monday and Wednesday, 11:05 to 1:05. And I'm always accessible via email. What type of materials do you need for the course? Well, the cheapest option for the book and an access code for the Connect website is through the LCC bookstore. I got a really nice deal with my book rep who was able to offer the book. I think it's at $114 for the book and the access code. It is a loose leaf book. If you wanted to just buy the access code, option 2 is listed there. It is around $140 with the e-text. So that's kind of a no-brainer there, guys. Also keep in mind that you will be testing online and you are able to use your book while you're texting. And I don't know how well you can flip from the e-text back to the Connect website while you're taking a test. So I strongly urge you to go to the bookstore and purchase it there. If you have any issues or problems with it, you email me. The technology we'll be using in the classroom, of course, in the course, I mean, is of course Blackboard Learn, which is where it's really the core of your class. This course information area is where everything is available. You're either going to complete it there or hit a link and go somewhere else to complete all the requirements of the course. Connect is a mandatory website we use, and there's complete registration instructions in this orientation area. You can download, you can have PowerPoint, because there are PowerPoint presentations if you would like to look at them, and Adobe Reader. Everything else you should be able to access via the internet and without buying anything. This is a picture of a typical chapter in Blackboard. Notice it is the course information area. You can see the orientation folder right up above, Chapter 1, and all the requirements that are listed there. There's either links or um, links out to connect or links to other parts of Blackboard for you to complete all of those requirements. So what are you required to do? Well, every chapter, and we do not do complete chapters in order, kind of hop around the book, so please be aware of that and be careful of it. Take a look at your calendar of events to make sure you know which chapter you actually should be working in. You're going to read the chapter twice, at least. Once is a general reading through, getting used to the material. Always start with the learning objectives at the beginning of the chapter, so you know, what am I learning here? What should I be walking away from? What kind of questions are going to be answered? And then that second time you go through it, that's when you're really digging into the information and understanding it and remembering it. There's then a voice lecture that's through YouTube. You have a link in your folder. And then you'll post a discussion board question. If you want at this point, you must post a discussion board question for each chapter. And that discussion board question shouldn't just be reiterating a question that is very obviously answered in the book. For instance, what is the standard deduction for married filing joint? Well, that's pretty obvious. The answer's in the book. I don't want those kind of questions. I want some insightful questions about the material, stuff that's really confusing you. I don't want you to ask a definition of something and somebody else puts the definition down. That's not what the purpose of this is. This is a discussion board, and we want to treat it that way. You also need to respond to another person's question or comment, and it's a beyond a I agree statement. If you are going to agree, you have to state why, citing examples or citations. So we want a little bit more deeper thought in this area. This is 5% of your final grade. You should also be working on end of chapter discussion questions for review of key topics. You'll see them at the end of each chapter. The answer keys are within your folders. You'll then move on and work on practice problems. There's varying amount of practice problems for each chapter. The practice problems are just that. You can take them as many times as you want. You complete them within Connect. There is a link in Blackboard. They are typically open-ended type of questions. They're not directly considered in your final grade, but you should master them by getting an 80% or better. They have strict due dates, and you lose points if they are late, 5 points per day. You have unlimited attempts, and you only have to revise errors from previous attempts. Now, although they're not considered as part of your final grade, you must score an 80% or higher to have access to the graded problems, which are 25% of your final grade. There's a link in the Blackboard chapter folder. The assignments must be completed by the due date. You'll lose 5 points per day for each day they're not complete. You have 2 attempts for the graded assignments, with the higher grade being the final grade for that chapter. And just like the practice, you'll just revise previous errors only. You won't have to redo the whole entire graded assignment. Some chapters will have a graded tax return problem, and those are noted in the course calendar. You will have 2 attempts to complete this. There's a link going out to Connect for you to complete them. Your second attempt is a revision of the errors of your first attempt. It's not timed. It has to be completed by a required due date. You lose 5 points per day. It is late. And it's 15% of your final grade. Each chapter also has an extra credit optional assignment. These are what we call Learn Smart activities. They are designed to last 30 minutes, and they are multiple choice questions that are really testing you on how well you've mastered the material. I suggest you wait until you're preparing for the test to go through these to really make sure you understand and see where your weaknesses may be through answering these questions. You'll receive 2 points of extra credit that will be added to your test score and then averaged with the other tests. The extra credit shuts off the same day as the test on that chapter. So that's generally what you have every chapter. After 2 chapters, you have a 2-chapter exam. Exams are 50% of your final grade. I thought I had more here on an exam. So let me go ahead and talk to you a little bit about the exams. There's 4 of them. They consist of multiple choice and open-ended questions that I'll be manually grading, so put as much information as possible. You have to complete the exams by the required due date. They are opened all semester, so there's no reason why they should not be completed. You'll have 1 attempt and 90 minutes to complete that 1 attempt. You can't save a test and go back to it later. All test dates are listed in the course calendar at the end of this outline. The project. There's a group tax return project, which is counted as a test grade. I will be splitting you up into groups of 3 normally, maybe 4 here and there. There is a project folder at the very end of your course information area with the instructions, templated tax forms for you to complete the project. The project is due December 11th, and I suggest you don't wait to start. Once I have you arranged into groups, I will be asking you to introduce yourself and let me know about that whole process and how your process is going on working together. At the end of the project, you will also have the opportunity to rate each other's participation, and that will go into deciding individual grades on the project. You will only submit 1 project per group as your final project answer. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. We will be covering the entire book, except for chapter 13. No, I'm speaking too much. There's 1 chapter we don't get in. 1, 2, 4. Number 3 we don't. 6, 7. And there might be 1 other chapter we don't focus on a lot. But for the majority of the book, we will be completing it. We don't do it in order. As I said, be very careful of that. Your assignment calendar is at the end of the syllabus. And it's also noted within Blackboard, or the outline we're looking at now. Exams are worth 50% of your final grade. Graded problems, 25%. Quizzes are worth 5. Graded tax returns, 15%. Participation and discussion, 5%. And I apologize, we didn't talk about quizzes. There is a quiz for each chapter. It's 20 true and false questions. It must be completed by the required due date. You could take the quiz as many times as you want, and the due date is listed. The highest score will be used for that chapter's quiz. You will only see your total score for each quiz before the due date. After the due date, you will then see detailed feedback. Letter grading is on the opposite side here. So let's look at an example of how I determine your final grade. I don't use a point system. Everything you do, every single assignment is 100%. So what I do is I take all of the assignments in a category. So let's say you have your tests. Test 1, 2, 3, 4, your group project, which is considered like your 5th test, and any extra credit points. So I add up everything in that category. 371. How many assignments were in that category? 5. 4 tests in the group project. So your average for the test category is 74.2. So I average the assignments in a category. So let's say I did that for every category. I then weight those averages by the applicable percentage we saw in a slide or 2 ago. So your exams are 50% of your final grade. So 50% of 74.2. Graded tax returns are worth 15%. Let's say the average was a 75, 11.2. Graded assignments are worth 25%. So if your average on all your graded assignments were 85, 21.25. Quizzes are 5%. Let's say your average on them was 100. You get a 5. And then participation, if you didn't participate in all the discussion boards, you end up with a 90 average, 5% of your grade, 4.5. I then add up all those results, and that's your final grade, 79.1, which would be a C+. So the grade book in Blackboard, which is where I determine your final grade. I do not use Connect to do my grading as far as determining your final grade. Some of your grades are in Connect, but they're always transferred into Blackboard, and that's where your real grade book is. I don't keep track of grades as we go. So I already have my grade book set up as if it was the end of the semester. So you may get 100 on your first graded assignment, but you'll see its average is like a 10 or something like that. Why? Because it's dividing by all the assignments for the semester. So if you want to know your grade at a certain point in time, it's up to you to calculate it based on what you have completed. You're more than welcome to calculate it. Send me the details of your calculation, and I'll let you know if you're right or wrong. Other items on our course outline. There's no plagiarism and cheating. Can't really do that in here. I don't know how you would. Contacting the instructor. I ask that you always email me via ldunn, not your personal or even your student email. I have 9 classes at main campus this year between online and in the classroom. And I need you to email me this way so I know what course you're in and how I can address your question. My policy is that we are in an online learning environment. You must check your email daily that is connected to ldunn. If you're not sure, email me and ask me. Okay, I will let you know, but you must check it daily. There's no excuse for missing an email, especially if you made a request. I've had students request, could I have just a little extra time on this? My kid was sick. Sure. They email me on Monday. I say, okay, you have till Wednesday to get it done. They email me Thursday and say, oh, I just checked my email. Well, that's not my problem. I've already helped you out. So you have to get in the habit of checking your email every day. I check my email daily and respond to it. There's tutoring available at the school, and on the course outline, there's a link to the website to get more information. Any type of special accessibility services that you may require, you must contact the accessibility office, and then we will work to make sure you're accommodated. The last day to drop this class is November 2nd, Friday, 2018. And then, of course, the outline is subject to change. At the very end of your outline is our course calendar with all of our due dates. Okay, so I like to try to talk to you about the items so that you can understand, first of all the stuff that is required and what's really important. The remainder of the orientation, again, I suggest you create a calendar of due dates somewhere so you don't miss anything. You need to register for Connect, which is a separate presentation on doing that. Please click on the link for your introduction on the discussion board and introduce yourself to the class. And then follow the instructions for emailing me that you completed the orientation. Please make sure you click on the link to understand what I exactly want in that email. Okay, so I welcome you to Accounting 214 Tax Accounting. I look forward to working with you all this semester. And remember, any questions at all during the semester, you just email me. It's all about communication.